Everybody, and welcome back to Keeping It Real with Tiff and Carl. I'm Carl Rabun,
I'm Tiff Salcido.
and
Melissa McCann.
joining us, yeah, and joining us live today is, as she said, Melissa McCann, our friend um, from our travels around the state. So, traveling around the state. Speaking of which, you're not in the states right now, right? Are you
No,
a fugitive? Or is that what's happening? You're on the run with Tiff?
probably.
Yeah.
We're on the run. We're
Gonna say what
yeah.
happened was is I was like, I just took a flight to San Diego and this car came by and said, "Hey, come with us." And I was like, okay.
Yeah. I said, hop in. We're going shopping. That's what I said.
Some
And
of the
and we've
best
been on
stories
on the
I've
run ever
heard.
since.
Some of the best stories
Yeah.
I've heard says, yeah, I took a flight to San Diego in a car, bopped in and said, hop in, and then dot, dot, dot. The rest is history.
That's pretty much what we've been doing ever since.
Right.
Just running these streets, running these calles,
I took
Yeah.
my passport, so I can't leave. So
Yeah.
Wow.
I told you can earn it back. So far. So far. She's been a solid no, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah. Well, do you want to introduce yourself, Melissa, and just give our listeners and
sure.
our fans, a brief
Okay, my
overview of
name's
you?
Melissa.
All three of our fans.
There's
Yeah.
more than that. I looked. I looked. So, my name's Melissa. I live in the Sacramento area in California. I work with Health and Human Services for a county locally there. I'm a grandma and I love to travel, and that's pretty much all my life. That's what I do is just I work so I can travel.
And she likes pina coladas. And I
Getting
don't
caught
know
in the
the rest
rain
of the song.
and getting caught in the rain.
Yeah, getting
Yeah.
caught in the rain. I was trying to
Yeah.
think of the next line.
Prosecco and getting caught in the rain.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Prosecco. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pina Prosecco. I wonder if do they have coconut Prosecco? I wonder.
I'll
That
find
would.
out. I got pina colada. I got pina cocoa juice here. We might find out by the end of the episode because we do what we want.
Hey,
That's true. We do.
a coconut mimosa.
I have pina cocoa juice, like for real, for real. I have
Yeah,
pina cocoa juice
yeah.
from Humex. They only sell it here in Mexico because I can't ever find it in the States. And I love that in almost everything, even just straight, on juice.
Why haven't we tried that?
We forgot that was the thing, but I just moved. But remember, I was reorganizing the cabinets like a psycho the other day. I found like three bottles of it. So
Okay.
I might disappear and let you all have a conversation,
Okay.
and we
Yeah.
might come back with cocktails. We don't know. We don't know about our life.
Hey,
We're on
I can't.
vacation.
I have a rule though. I have a rule: no drinking before noon for me.
We don't have those
Just
rules.
I'm not
yeah.
sure we could be
Just
friends then.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
well,
Carl.
if I, well, I mean, I'll have an occasional Bloody Mary in the mornings, but if it's otherwise, if I start drinking before noon, I fall asleep before 3, and it's just I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm wasted on the party, or so it's just ridiculous. So
Think we've ever had a cocktail before noon. That would be weird. We've never done that ever. We've never had breakfast beers in Italy. We've never day drunk for the fun of it. Never.
Oh no, never.
We've heard of some people who might have done that. I hear they're a lot of
Mhm.
fun, but we've never ever. Not
those
even this week.
wild
We
people,
we haven't even done
yeah,
that this week. Not one time.
Nope.
No, not at all.
not on a Friday morning, right? No,
No,
No, no,
absolutely not. Not
no,
not in any day.
no.
That would be wrong.
very cool.
Maybe we'll make an exception today.
Yeah, yeah. So as I mentioned,
It's already 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
it is.
Mm.
Oh, well, in yeah, in
Yeah,
England it's 7 o'clock. So yeah,
We're late.
we're late.
yeah. You should be stumbling and bumbling right by now, right? Or at least swerving,
Oh man.
waving in your chair, swerving left and right,
We are
right?
amateurs.
I don't know. But I am a procrastinator, so we'll just have to catch up. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, as I mentioned, Melissa's a friend. She's Tiff's friend, and Tiff lets me borrow her every now and then whenever I go to her county to train.
Mhm.
So yeah, you have to know that Tiff,
You're right.
Melissa. When Tiffany has friends, I ask if I can borrow them for the time that I'm spending with them. She has a good friend we go to
Mhm.
concerts with, and I ask permission before sign a permission slip and everything like
Okay.
that. So
They're at concerts together. They're not with each other they're at the same concert, maybe sitting next to
Mhm.
each other.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I
Yeah.
allow like one drink after, but no meals.
I actually met Tiffany as a spot as a trainer.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, we were trying to figure it out. It's probably been about 10 years ago.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
she came to my county to train, and I sat through class. And at the end of class, I said, "Okay, we're friends. So what are we going to do? And where are we going to dinner tonight?"
And I said,
Okay. And that was that.
yeah. And then we both found out we like candied bacon. And then like, how do you build a bond over candied bacon? And then
Mm.
that's it.
It's forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And then she
next
came to
time,
San Diego again. Yeah. Yeah. The candy bacon place isn't there anymore though. Just FYI. We put
well,
them out of business.
just so you know, there's a
The bacon.
there's,
Yeah.
there's a barbecue right up the street from the San Francisco County training place that sells pig candy. That's what they call it, pig candy, and it's amazing.
I'll
Ooh.
be there next
So
week. I'll be there next week. I'll have to try that out.
yeah, pig candy, and I usually get the chili, and I put the pig candy in the chili. Oh yeah, it's awesome. So just
Oh
want to give you a
my.
heads up.
Delicious.
Hmm.
Yeah, very cool.
That sounds
So
fantastic.
it
Hmm.
is, it is, which makes me think, we in our podcast we've talked about places to eat in specific places. So, just um and have we talked about the Sacramento area? No, we've talked about far-flung regions, but not Sacramento. So, Melissa, what are some of your places that, when you're at home, what are some places that you frequent?
Hmm.
What are your go-tos?
I do frequent like Urban Roots in downtown Sacramento. They
Mhm.
have a fabulous beer selection along with barbecue that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the Spanish place that I go to downtown that does paella that'll change your life. I'll have to think of that name. I can't think of it right now, but it's owned by a Spanish family and
Yeah.
it's lovely. Um, Seems like a lot of the places I
Oh,
go to are centered around here.
There's nothing
would
wrong
would
with
you
that.
say
I see. All mine are.
what do you say, top of the
Centered
world?
around
Is that
beer.
what you're talking about? Top of the world? The Spanish place?
No. Oh,
No.
you know what? It is. It is. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. And they're so fun to be in there and to have to speak that to understand the language because the menus are written in their language. And it's just kind of like, oh, sure, I'll take that. And just try new things all the time. So it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah. Last
and
time we were
then
in there, oh, I was gonna
I
say
was
last
gonna
time we
say
were
up
in
at
there.
Solid Ground in Placerville. Oh, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
solid ground in Placerville. Okay. And Timmy's Brown Bag in
Mhm.
Placerville too. Hmm. So
There's that too. Yes, that's
yeah,
ridiculously fun. Yeah. You
yeah.
never know what's going to be on those sandwiches. Oh my goodness.
Interesting.
But in top of the
What did
world,
I get?
when we tried to order paella and they told us there's a 45-minute wait. So it's because they cook it right there, right? So it's definitely authentic. And we haven't
Uh-huh.
tried it yet. We promised ourselves we would try it next time. So and it's also
So you
very
just get
close
some
to.
tapas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we get the tapas and do all that and the jamon and the olives that they have and everything. And
Sangria. Hmm.
yeah. And the cool thing is it's like 2 blocks away from Rick's Dessert Diner too. So I mean, that has to be connected. It just has to happen. Very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, how's your week been, Tiff? What have you guys been doing?
Well, we went to Canadian Thanksgiving.
We
Hmm.
did.
We were invited. We got some homies here from the North America Canadian provinces, and they invited us. Our first time having Canadian Thanksgiving in Mexico because we're very international. And that was fun. The pumpkin pie was weird.
So tell
It
us
was
about
it was
Canadian Thanksgiving.
interesting.
Yeah,
It's
tell
just
us
like
about
American
Canadian.
Thanksgiving.
Okay.
It's just like American Thanksgiving, eh? That's it. That's it. You just
Did
throw
they
A
have
at the end of it and now. Hmm.
did they
Turkey,
have
mashed
craft dinner?
potatoes, gravy.
Yeah, it's just turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing. It's just we were laughing about the pumpkin pie because we went to a restaurant for this Canadian Thanksgiving, and so the menu for this dinner was pumpkin pie. And then at the end, they brought us this like strawberry funfetti cake. And we were all looking at it like,
Yeah. What
what the
happened?
heck is? So we
So
all
that,
just kind of giggled about the dessert. It wasn't pumpkin
oh,
pie.
okay.
It
Oh,
wasn't. It was strawberry funfetti cake with this weird wine reduction that because it was a winery. We were at a winery for this dinner. The food was fine. The food was
yeah.
really good, and the
Yes.
company was great, and the wine was all right. But the cake, it just was hilarious at the very end. The pumpkin pie, we it just it was not that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and we were
Hmm.
like, did they run out? But we were only like the fifth and sixth and seventh people in there. So I think they just didn't get the ingredients or they didn't get it wasn't ready or they
Something
ran
went
something happened. But
wrong.
we just all thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
But we did Mexican Thanksgiving and then or I mean sorry, Canadian Thanksgiving. We celebrated that. And then we had like we went to the pool one day. We had a whole day of pampering where we went to get our toes done and then we went and got massages and facials and had a whole spa day. We've been eating well and
Mhm.
enjoying the quiet stargazing.
Oh, yes. The
Stargazing.
quiet here is just exactly what I needed.
hmm
Mhm.
hmm
Very cool.
We've tripped and fell and landed at the brewery a couple of times. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's always fun. That's a social event. That's you know, you obviously are drinking beer while you're there, but you go for the company because
It is. Yeah.
it's
Well, I
just a
got to
really
play
cool.
trivia.
hmm
So,
And
Oh,
she
you played
won.
trivia?
yeah.
Let's be clear. And she won.
Yeah, we played trivia. Um, she plugged me in with the team because they didn't want to play, and we had a great time. And as usual, one of my skills with trivia is I know just random ridiculous facts that nobody else knows. And so I'm worthless for the simple questions,
Mhm.
but then all of a sudden there's something really strange and I know 100% I'm right and I can pull it out of my hat and
Mhm.
yeah. So I
Yeah,
was
I hear you.
appreciated. That was kind of fun. So yeah, and then we took the side by side out on the beach and
Mhm.
in the dark and went to the turtle hatchery, the little sanctuary they have for the turtles to hatch, and that was really exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We've
Wow.
squeezed as much fun out of this week as we can. We're
oh my
ringing it.
God, but
We're still going to hit the beach up hopefully today after
right, but
this.
lots of just quiet and just being, which is exactly what I needed. So mhm,
Very cool. That's awesome.
mhm.
It's awesome. It's great to have an outlet to be able to do that. So, and have a
Yes,
friend like Tiff to be able
yes,
to make that
it's
happen.
just
Very cool.
yes. Yeah. That's how it all kind of started because I met up with her. I'm actually taking a little bit of a leave from work because I've had some mental health things going on and I met up with her like I think the day it started and she said come with us. You can come to our house and we'll just do nothing and it was like so I could say we've
Mhm.
done a lot but nothing at the same time. It's been fabulous. So,
Yeah.
We've done nothing productive.
no, that's okay.
Sometimes that's the
Nothing.
most
Well,
productive thing you
no,
can do.
I did put together some furniture. Remember, I am now a professional
That's true.
installer of
That's true.
things. So I put together a little rack for the bathroom all by myself. And this morning I put together two under the bed storage
Just,
containers.
yeah.
So I'm pretty much as productive as I've ever been.
Mhm. I
Wow.
just thought I caught myself saying something that's no longer allowed in my vocabulary. And that is that I did nothing
Mhm.
because that's not what I was doing. What I was
Hmm.
doing was healing and recuperating and relaxing and resting. It's not that I was doing nothing. I was doing exactly what my body needed.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes
I'm
that's the
straight.
best
So I gotta
thing.
get rid of that word nothing in my vocabulary because it's not true. Yeah.
You know, and I think you're absolutely right. And there's another word that's the exact opposite that I try to keep out of my vocabulary, busy, right?
Mm,
So and I think it's just a throwaway word these days. How you doing? Oh, I'm busy, right? And but think about what you're talking about. Nothing or busy. How many people say if you're not busy, you're doing nothing, right?
right,
And how
right,
stressful they both are, and how our society, our community, our own ideas of how we were ingrained with this work ethic per se, that where either it's go hard or go home, right? Stay busy,
right.
and all that stuff like that. Stay ready so you don't have to be ready, and all these other things that have kept us feeling like we're on our toes. I mean, if I'm sitting there playing Wordle, I feel like I should be doing something else, which is ridiculous, right?
Right,
I've had a couple
right.
weeks where I didn't have much to do. I had maybe one class in a week. I had some classes canceled last minute, and I felt so unproductive. It was actually affecting me personally. Like,
Mm,
what am I doing? Right? Even though, financially everything's okay and, we're able to do the things that we want to do, I still felt like I'm just sitting here like a bump on the log, right? And, I do need to update my resume. Do I need to put out, this and that? And I need to work on these things. And, oh, I have all these things I can do, work on my website. And it's just sometimes, why can't we just be still? Right. And it's so hard, especially, with that work ethic that, you know, traditionalists had, baby boomers. We talk about that with generations, right? Before World War II, more than 50% of Americans lived in rural areas in the country, right? And that idea of blue collar, hard work, farm work, or slaughterhouse work, or whatever else it was, dairy work, right? Hard work and work from the sun up till sundown, and that bone tired. That's something that was ingrained in those folks, even when we've moved to urban areas. And then like in the
hmm
90s with NAFTA and all the white collar jobs, because all the steel mills closed, all the manufacturing, we don't make cars in America, we don't make steel in America, TVs, I think when I was working at Sears, um, which is another pour some out for our dead homies, right? Sears. But one of the manufacturers reps told me that 60% of the world's TVs are made on a 1 mile strip in Baja, right? And which, so Sony, Panasonic, RCA, all these folks, and it's like, we don't do that here anymore. So all of our jobs or a lot of our jobs now are service jobs or what are called white collar jobs, right? But we still have these folks that were raised with the blue collar work ethic. So, even if sometimes, and I don't know if you've heard this, Tiff, but oh well, you teach, so it's easy. You just get to talk to people all day, and which is that idea of, I was sat here and did two full day classes virtually today, this week, and I was dog tired, and I was sitting on the couch, and my wife said, "Can you go do this?" I said, "Yeah, just give me a moment," right? And part of my head is like, she thinks that I've just been sitting down doing nothing all day, but I know she knows because she's seen me teach, and she's been. But in my head, I'm like, okay, she's asking me to do something with her outside. Does she think that I wasn't working? I get defensive about that, right? And it's because when I worked the county I worked in. Oh yeah, workshop facilitators. It's easy. You don't have to do case management. You just get to talk to clients all day. I said, but yeah, but we're on for 5 days a week, six hours a day, right? That's a different dynamic. And a lot of people don't equate that because they think hard work is stuff that you have to look at and focus when a lot of times for us, hard work is just engaging with people and putting up with some of the bullshit you have to deal with people and things and daily grinds, right? So, you doing nothing
Yeah,
is probably one of the most healing things that you could have done. And I'm so glad that you're able to do that and access that.
me too. Me too. Well, I heard, I don't know if this is true because, I don't fact check anything, but I heard that your brain is only like 2% of your body weight, but it uses about 25% of your energy.
Mhm.
And I believe that to be true just through my own experience. And it's funny because Mr. Salcido used to tell me when I worked for the county and I was at a desk all day, and he did labor. I would come home and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm so exhausted." He's like, "From what? You just sit all day, right?" And I'm like, "Dude, first of all, right?" But then he got went from like the production labor part into management, and so now he's doing more of the administrative work and more of like the strategic stuff. And then he'd be like, "I get it now. Yeah, my bad, dog. That he's like, you don't know how bad I want to just go back to lifting boxes and using my body because using the brain all day is ridiculous." I said,
Oh my God.
told you. That's why hats don't fit me. That's why I have a big head. This is what I use all day long and it's exhausting. I just was telling her when one of the things I love about being here is everything is like so I don't know, rustic is the right word. but you like we have a washing machine, but we have to go hang our clothes outside. And
Hmm.
so where we hang my clothes, it's way up on the top floor. So we've got to climb up several stairs to get to the spot where I put my clothes outside. And it was right, I worked 2 days this week virtually. And so it was like after one went to go hang up. And I was telling her, um, you get out of condition. It's exhausting. Like I felt like fatigued yesterday because it was the second day of online training, and I said, when you do this all the time, you're like conditioned for it. It's not a big deal. I said, but like right now that I'm only doing it every once in a while, it is just exhausting. I got over it though. I was fine.
Yeah,
We looked at stars last night, so we were fine. But it
very
does take
cool.
its toll for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it's an important thing, like you mentioned. When you haven't done something in a while, it kind of it's like getting back on the bike. Once you get into things, then you're doing well. I mean, in the
Mhm.
spring, we're going to be well conditioned athletes. Traveling here and
Mhm.
there and everywhere, and being ready to teach and give that energy, and so it's. But once things slow down, then you start to appreciate. Okay, well, how much energy was exhausted, and when am I going to slow down? When is this wheel going to stop? And when it's not going as fast as it was, you start thinking, okay, so how did I do that? Right? So,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I think that's like the cycle. And I know this is probably different for other professions, but I will say, and I don't know if it's like this where you live at, where like your caseload is cyclical. Like, do you have like a busy period and a slow period?
Yes.
Okay. So here's like where I like think about this in this like cycle of a work year. We have our busy times, we have our slower times, and in the slow times we like we could catch our breath, and then the busy times come and we're just go 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 go. What I have found in my busy time is I have to plan a break somewhere in there, because as much as like you're conditioned and you're go go go, we've talked about it here before, where I have my spring meltdown usually it's more around March or April because I've been going nonstop for several months. Around March or April is when I hit my or I hit the wall where I'm like, I have got to
Mm,
hit pause because I'm burning out. And I feel it. I feel it. My husband notices it before I notice it because again he tells me, why are you breathing weird? And it's because I'm going. And then
Yeah.
even like dope, sometimes I send our my best friend, but your acquaintance. I will send her a voice note and she's like, you can't even get words out because I'm so like wound. I'm so
Hmm.
wound that
mm,
even to like have a conversation, I'm like,
Yeah.
because my body can't keep up with how fast my brain is moving. And that's when I just appreciate and need like the stillness.
right,
Right.
right.
And so it's like the noticing and then taking the next step that's going to help you not have the meltdown, which again I haven't had a full meltdown. I've had a few like trickles, but no glaciers have melted anytime. I'm trying to be more proactive with my well-being, instead of waiting till I'm burnt out and trying to recover, because that's hard.
Yeah.
I kind of
It is
think
hard.
that's when I made the decision to just
Yeah.
take a pause from work.
Hmm.
But I needed someone else to recognize it, and that would be my therapist. So she said,
Right.
exactly how long do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Do you want to keep doing this? And it was finally to the point where it was like, no, I don't. Now what?
Hmm.
And she was able to walk me through what was next. So
Good.
yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
it's
So
interesting
you experienced
to need
you
someone else
experienced
to point it out.
so you experienced the what, and then the so what, and then the now what, and then the
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
But I will say that as just for myself, like Melissa and I are both like very accomplished, um, hardworking, independent, strong, independent women. Okay, and that's why we bonded because game recognized game. So we've been over a lot of commonality, and both I don't know how vulnerable you want to be on here last night, but we were having some pretty deep and loving conversations with each other last night. And one of the things we recognize is that we're all messed up.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their thing, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
their trauma, their weight that they carry, and it's just everybody has it. Just looks different for each person. It doesn't make us damaged or broken.
Right.
It just means we're human. And with that being said, as these strong, independent women who also have some self-awareness, sometimes it takes another person to point out that you need support
Mhm.
because we're trying to do it all by ourselves.
Right.
And not because we can't be helped by anyone else, but a lot of times we don't want.
Right. We don't want to admit it.
We don't want to admit it. That's exactly right. Poor David had to fight with me for years to tell me that I was doing too much. Like we would have arguments. He's like, "You're stressed out." And I'm like, "Me right now." He's like, "No, you're stressed out." And I'm telling you, you need to take a break. Do what I want. It
Yeah.
was an argument. And then I would he like kidnapped me. He literally kidnapped me one weekend. Kidnapped me. Took me out of the country, kidnapped me. No phone, no laptop. You're going away for the weekend. And I'm like, you are not gonna. And then I was there and I'm like in a jacuzzi. And I'm like, oh, oh yeah. I think I needed to relax. This is delightful.
All right.
I think
Yeah.
well, this is the first time my shoulders haven't been up here because I'm so tense. Like so sometimes like you have to listen to the people around you. And it's interesting that a lot of helping professionals specifically, people will tell them they need a break before they recognize that they need a break. Sometimes we'll be like, hey, when's the last time you took a vacation? Maybe you should take a 4-day weekend's coming up. Maybe you should take advantage of that and do something with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to be better to ourselves, but I think too we have to be better to each other to kind of point out sometimes and help people feel safe to do what they need for them
Mhm.
and realize it's not a burden to other people to help while you need the
Yeah.
help.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for helping professions. I was just having that conversation yesterday with one of the people in the Health and Human Services class that she graduated. Her unit from CDSS is actually teaching a session at the conference that we're going to be emceeing on managing stress and trauma,
Mhm.
so secondary traumatic stress, how to manage that as a case manager, as a helping
Mhm.
professional, and I always equate it to, just when you're doing case management, you're working with folks, a lot of folks are there for a reason, right? And it's not just because I lost my job or, that something else happened or, domestic violence or even domestic violence. But like, we split up, divorce, whatever. But a lot of that stuff is trauma that has been, either unrecognized, untreated, right? And it's affecting people in a way, even if it is being treated, it's still something they're experiencing. And when you're seeing those effects come at you, it's like a wave, and it's a wave after wave, almost like a tsunami, where, if you have 7 clients you contact with on a day and 5 of them have some type of unresolved trauma, that starts wearing on you, right? You're immersed in it when you come out. Some of it sticks on you. And if we don't have something to treat it, like you mentioned, Melissa, therapy, or having those heart to hearts, having somebody who you can be vulnerable
Mhm.
with, um, then it just will wear you out. And the idea of burnout is a real thing. And especially in helping professionals, in helping professions, experiencing burnout, other people that you work with will experience it. Like you said, Tiff, your husband recognizes it, when your breathing changes or when dope can't understand what you're saying. Think about if you're working with a client
Mhm.
who looks to you for support and guidance, and you're having some of those personal experiences that are coming out towards them, and a lot of people don't have those outlets. So sometimes them
Mhm.
releasing that is uncontrolled and can be, I don't want to say violent, but verbally violent or emotionally violent, or I don't have time for
Mhm.
this. I don't want to talk to you, right? You start pulling yourself away. I had that happened to me when I saw a kid, that was experiencing trauma, and it threw me for a loop, and I almost left human services. I mean, for about a month I was a
Mhm.
mess, and I didn't even realize it. I had to have one of my coworkers tell me, "Hey, do you want to come have lunch with us today?" Because we used to have lunch every day. And I said, "Yeah, sure." She goes, "Okay, because it's been 3 weeks since you've eaten with us, and
Mhm.
we're all a little worried about you." And luckily I had a friend come and help me with that and talk me through it and use, I told him yesterday, so, one of the things that I always recommend is cognitive behavioral therapy, right? So, and she really helped me to kind of normalize the fact that not every kid is going to be in danger like that. Your child won't be in danger like that, if as long as you're in a good place, and just all those things that really helped me to remember this is not something that is insurmountable. This is something that's situational, and that I have the abilities and the wherewithals to manage it as long as I access those tools. So, you know, you being able to recognize that, do something about it. I definitely applaud you because it is hard to ask for
And
help in our society. It is so hard to ask for help. People don't want us to, oh, you're needy. Oh, especially you guys. Oh, women. Yeah, they can't do things for themselves. And yeah, please,
Right.
but for
know who's saying
guys,
that, first of all. Point me in the direction of who's saying that, because I like to have
oh,
a chat.
well,
Right.
look
Can
east,
I?
ma'am. Look east,
Yes.
and
Well,
yeah,
yeah. So here's like one thought I'm having right now. Well, I have a thought and a resource. A thought and a resource. The first thought that I have is, as much as helping professionals, we're helping people through the crisis and the trauma. I don't want anybody to think that we, on the other side, are not experiencing our own crisis and trauma.
sure,
So the it compounds. So not only are we kind of absorbing the energy of being the helpers, but we're also dealing with stuff in our own lives. All the challenges that people have in the world are not, we're not exempt from them. So we also have to deal with things like finances, children, parents, illness,
Aging parents.
all of the things, and poverty and our own traumas. And doesn't mean that we all have healthy relationships. Like there's a lot of complexity to just being a human being. And so while we're dealing with our own, we're trying to support other people. And sometimes we can't even manage our own shit. And we're supposed to be the experts
Right.
in other people, right? So that sometimes takes its toll. But the resource I want to share with you is a book. Of course, you know me, the bibliography here. But there's a really, really great book that I love for helping professionals. It's called Trauma Stewardship. And shout out to my sister Trisha for she's the one that turned me on to this book. The author is Laura Vandernoot Lipsky, and she kind of outlines some of the coping mechanisms, the unhealthy coping mechanisms that helping professionals take on. And when she's talking about helping professionals, she's talking about police officers, EMTs, human services people. She's even talking about like ecologists, people who are trying to help save the earth, and people who are environmentally minded, and how we give so much energy to making things better, and then when they don't get better, or where people are not accepting the help, or it's not the right kind of help, whatever that looks like, that we cope with it in lots of different ways. And one of them is numbing. We all, I'm sure, have known a helper who's become really jaded, and they've kind of built up some armor around like absorbing people's trauma, and they almost become like blameful of people for needing help, which is a really ugly place for the client and for the worker to have that kind of interaction. But the thing that she talks about is that you can't selectively numb. So if you're numbing out the bad, you're also numbing out the good. And so now you're just stuck in this place of like sadness, anger, frustration, because you can't celebrate the good stuff either. And I thought that was really kind of profound when I thought about it, because I know you do have to build some like coping mechanisms, but they're not always healthy. And sometimes we're perpetuating the trauma, we're amplifying it, not alleviating it without taking part in some kind of self-care. So that we got to help the helpers.
Amen.
Help the helpers. The helpers got to help themselves, then we got to help each other. And just, not attach judgment to needing help. Like Brene Brown says, if you judge yourself for needing help, you can't help but judge others when they need your help, and you're getting
that's
some
right.
kind of value from that. And I try to think about that all of the time. How do I help? How do I help? Who can I help? And when I need help, I'm getting real good at asking for it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like yesterday, they said, "What are we doing this afternoon?" I said, "You all got to figure that out. I'm not
Right.
thinking about it. My brain was fried. I'm like, you all tell me what we're doing when I get off of work. I'm not coming up with a damn thing."
yeah.
So we had a plan. We had a plan. I asked for help. I got it, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
No, I think that's such great mindset to have as a helper. So how can I help and who can I turn to for help? Right.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
that second piece, is so critical. All right. Especially, helping professionals, very often we love problem solving, right? That dopamine hit of problem solving. Some people get addicted to problem solving
Mm.
where you hear something, oh, well, let's do this, let's do this. You can do this, you can do that, you can do this, rather than really hearing people, right? And I think you can get in that mode where, like you said, if you put that armor on and you're desensitized, well, I have this. Well, then, you need to go here. You need to talk to here. Well, you need to figure that out because I mean, that's what I did, right? And so it can be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
judgy, like you mentioned. I have many people. I had a coworker who was on aid herself and was a success story. Went from being on aid to a county employee, and all of her clients hated her because she would judge them when they weren't doing things well. You can't turn in your report on time. You're getting sanction notices from your worker. That's you need to do better. And when I was on aid, I did all this stuff because I listened to my professionals. You could do it too, but if you'd stop being so lazy, right? And it's just all those things like that. Excuse me. She'd berate them and browbeat them into a place where people didn't feel like they were getting support. They felt like they were being judged like as if in any other corner of society for being on aid or asking for help. And you know, if we get into that mode, then we are not assisting families at all. In fact, we're just ending up being another place that people don't want to go to and to turn for help.
Right,
And if you can't develop that, then you don't get trust and you don't get information, right? And we need information.
right.
We need information to be able to make
One
decisions.
more place to feel like crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pass.
So you know what I think is interesting? I'm going to flip the script a little bit on this because one of the things that I notice is that when we have workers that have that type of mentality, it's bigger than just that individual. It's the system that allows or celebrates or encourages that type of behavior. Working in government is not for the weak. I just want to say
No.
because you're not just dealing with the complexity of like people living in crisis and trauma and trying to like support people having a better quality of life and getting them connected to the right services and having compassion and empathy, but you're also dealing with behind the scenes all of the politics and personalities of working in a complex system. And I think for most of us, and I don't want to speak for Melissa, I'll let you tell your own story. But for me, one of the hardest challenges of working in government was not from the work with the public, it was from the emotional toll of working with people who were maybe hurt, damaged, overwhelmed, jaded, and the negativity that comes with not having a healthy outlet for all of that they're carrying. And so if I know it's completely inappropriate for me to take it out on the client, I might take it out on the next, coworker who sends me an email and all of a sudden I'm being sassy with them or we're gossiping or we're, venting to each other and just creating this environment. And so, you know, number one, we've got to take care of ourselves. But the other part of this is that we have to create environments where we're emotionally healthy behind the scenes and cut the crap on all of this like emotionally exhaustive behavior that we participate in. I'm guilty of it too. I am not I'm not screaming from the mountaintop. I know I get sucked into it as well. But it's like, how do we create environments where that kind of behavior is kind of thwarted? Let's get into something healthier. It really takes a lot of effort. And it starts, I think, with us. We got to start with ourselves,
Right,
basically.
right. Get
So
honest with